I'm Alan Robarge, a psychotherapist and a relationship coach. Welcome to Improve Your Relationships, where I like to talk about attachment injuries and healing attachment trauma. And on this video, let's talk about a dysfunctional cycle of insecurely attached relationships and how we co-create, co-participate in this cycle. And so that it's a no-win situation for everybody. There's two key words in what I just shared. It's a very long title. Sorry it's so long. It's the word cycle. It's a dysfunctional cycle. We're focusing on the whole point of this video. And in fact, this is a video in a series. This is video number 3. And there's obviously 2 other videos before. There's a total of 5 videos. And in this series, it's all about this cycle, the dysfunctional cycle, and how you also co-create it and that you participate in fueling the cycle. So some of this information, to give you a heads up, is a little hard to hear because sometimes we have to look in the mirror and it's sobering and just say, oh, wow, I do this. Yeah, oh yeah, I contribute to this. I seek this out. I exaggerate the scenario so that it fuels making sure that the cycle keeps going. For many of us to come out of our own denial and to just quite honestly come into clarity, because it's so confusing, really a lot of confusing dynamics, especially if you don't know any better or if this is what you came from and this is what you know in your family. And so if you have a history in your family system of dysfunctional relationships, and then you in your adult life recreate that, and you find yourself in a series of dysfunctional relationships, you might not even identify them as dysfunctional. You think, well, they're just not working out, or or they're pretty good, or they have moments where they're good. So to really drop into a deeper awareness of what are these dynamics is difficult to hear, and also just a part of our raising our consciousness. The reason why I'm doing this, the reason why it's important to talk about this, and I'm assuming even the fact you're watching this video, is that this is about suffering. And what brings you to this video is that your relationships have been hurtful up to this point, or to word it in not so poetic terms, to say your relationships have sucked, and you have been on the receiving end, or you have experienced relationships that invite a profound grief. And at the end of the whole process of trying to get your attachment needs met and trying to learn some new skills so that you can change the pattern, nonetheless, the pattern does not change. And here you are, you and me, watching this video, trying to identify what the heck is this pattern. So in the spirit of addressing suffering and mapping out what is this cycle, I've created this document. It occurs in 5 parts. And I'm trying to really map out and hone in on what is this cycle. This is coming from my years and years of working clinically with clients, listening to clients, observing their stories, and then quite honestly, my own history around adult relationships that I've created and how they have just quite frankly been messy and just haven't worked out, and a ongoing chronic grief and a very deep longing that continually haunts me around why don't these relationships work out? Because of this cycle, because it's all rooted, it's dysfunctional from the start. So in the spirit, for all of us, breaking the pattern, learning new ways, raising our consciousness to say, hey, I don't want to keep doing this, but then also learning some new tools, new ways of going about it, so that we could seek different, we can experiment with corrective experiences in order to invite more secure relating, because this pattern is about dysfunctional toxic cycle that comes from insecure relating. If you like this content, in fact, if you've seen the other 2 videos, you know the format. I'm going to read some part of the document. Each video is reading each section, and then I'll make some commentary. If you want this document to follow along. You can have it sent to you, sign up for it through my website. Go to alanrobarge.com/the word cycle, CYCLE. I'll include the URL here. Also in the description of the YouTube, the whatever it's called, the summary of the description for this video, you can find the link there as well. And then lastly, or not lastly, but one more piece before I jump in, is that this content is the driving core content of the community membership website that I have created called Improve Your Relationships, of like-minded people, assuming someone just like you who wants to dialogue and talk about and uncover and really explore what is this pattern and how did it show up in your life and how do we change it and shift it. And if you want to engage in those kind of meaningful, purposeful, driven conversations, that's the point of the community membership website. And you can learn more about that by going to my website. It's on the community page. Let's jump in. Number 3, video number 3, third part of the document regarding the dysfunctional cycle of insecurely attached relationships and how you co-create and co-participate in the process, and it's a no-win situation for everybody. You exaggerate sexual relating with a new person because it allows you to accelerate closeness and commitment. I'm just going to read that one again. I mean, I think that's so powerful. We want to feel close. We want to feel committed. We cannot manage the distress, the confusion of not knowing where the heck is this relationship going. And we're also quite honestly just very, very hungry to have a secure foundation of relating, and that we want to feel a sense of accomplishment. Like, yes, I'm in a relationship. Yes, I got this person. They got me. We're together. And so we invite using sexual relating to strengthen that closeness and commitment. By design, that totally makes sense. Who doesn't? I mean, that's one component or aspect of the neurobiology of sex. It's like it fosters connection. But if we do it in an exaggerated way, if we do it in a way that is going against the natural, slow progression of getting to know someone, and we're substituting sexual relating and the intensity for meaningful interaction to force a commitment or to force a relationship, already we're setting ourselves up for a dysfunctional pattern. I have a whole page of information to read here, and that's just sentence number 1. We got to sentence number 1. So I hope this video is going to be, 3 hours and 17 minutes. You exaggerate sexual relating with a new person because it allows you to accelerate closeness and commitment. You induce a flood of bonding hormones through sexual relating and then point to those feelings as proof of meaningful chemistry. You assume sexual intimacy is in alignment with emotional intimacy, even though you have not nurtured emotional closeness through non-sexual relating. The disproportionate value placed on sex, as well as the high frequency of sex in the new relationship, often seems amazing and extremely satisfying. A common reason why sexual relating is so great in these situations is because we are able to hide from true intimacy. I'm not often a fan of the phrase true intimacy, or sometimes that shows up with like true love, or even if someone says your true self. I'm going off on a tangent. I just need to acknowledge there's some problematic aspect to thinking in terms of, this is true, this is fake, this is true, oh, this wasn't real. It gets a little too black and white. So I'm just pointing out that that's not my favorite usage of the word here, but I think there's a common understanding of that phrase, so that's why I used it. So I'm going to start all over. You exaggerate sexual relating with a new person because it allows you to accelerate closeness and commitment. You induce a flood of bonding hormones through sexual relating and then point to those feelings as proof of meaningful chemistry. You assume sexual intimacy is in alignment with emotional intimacy, even though you have not nurtured emotional closeness through non-sexual relating. the disproportionate value placed on sex, as well as the high frequency of sex in the new relationship, often seems amazing and extremely satisfying. A common reason why sexual relating is so great in these situations is because we are able to hide from true intimacy. We ultimately don't know our partner, and they don't know us. Losing ourselves in emotional anonymity gives us permission and freedom to be sexually uninhibited. It's only when we start to experience authentic vulnerability, and again, that word, true vulnerability, authentic vulnerability, that we become more aware of the risks and the fears of loving, and as a result start holding back sexually. And that's when the relationship shifts very quickly. Many people report, oh, we had such a great sex life, we were so close and so wonderful and wild and free, and I thought I finally met someone who, it just reinforced feeling close. And then something shifts. Not only do, the shift is getting to know the other person, but there's a dramatic change in the quality of sex, the frequency in sex, and just the level of emotional willingness to be vulnerable. And then many people use excuses here. They say like, oh, well, work is so busy, I'm so busy. Well, yeah, at the time when it first met, we were not, we didn't have, we weren't driving on the weekends to, help my parents do XYZ at their house because my parents need help, or we weren't, there's all of a sudden these life obstacles that people report to try to rationalize and make sense of why their sexual behaviors and participation has so dramatically shifted, as opposed to people honestly saying, well, it's shifted because I don't know you. And I'm realizing I have no idea who you are. And we have created this profound commitment to be in a relationship, and we're two strangers. And now we're like having this like intense, vulnerable sex as two strangers. And this is so confusing to my brain. And I just think all of a sudden I'm not going to have sex as frequently, but I'm just going to chalk it up. I'm not going to be honest about it. I'm just going to say, oh, I'm busy. I'm just really busy at work. Or, some people say, I'm tired now. I'm just so tired. And when we first met, I wasn't tired, but now I'm tired. So let's not have sex for the next 6 months. Very, very, very confusing stuff, and common. What I'm talking about is a common thing. I'm going to back up a bit. A common reason why sexual relating is so great in these situations is because we are able to hide from true intimacy. We ultimately don't know our partner, and they don't know us. Losing ourselves in emotional anonymity, I love that phrase, emotional anonymity, gives us permission and freedom to be sexually uninhibited. It's only when we start to experience authentic vulnerability that we become more aware of the risks and the fears of loving, and as a result start holding back sexually. When this happens, we will notice that sex goes from a passionate feeling of being merged with your partner to a mechanical feeling of being disconnected from him or her. When you realize your needs for intimacy are not being met, you will use sex as a substitute for reassurance to manage the attachment distress created by the fact you no longer can deny that this relationship is unhealthy and spiraling downward into more dysfunction. So when there's cracks in the facade, when there's cracks in the relationship foundation, and the truth starts leaking in, and the truth is a feeling state where we really start, this is where we get the chronic, ongoing, low level, sometimes higher level, but the low level, something is not right here, something is not right, something's not going right. And we can't ignore, enough time has passed, we're beyond the honeymoon period, we're beyond trying to stay blissed out in meeting this, amazing new person. And we have this attachment distress that we can no longer deny something is up here. And instead of being honest about this whole crazy thing that we're doing, instead what we do is we say, well, let's up sex, let's have more sex. And some of us will use sex as a substitute for intimacy, and it has a function or purpose of managing our attachment distress, and we're trying to get our attachment needs met through the hormonal hit of closeness and connection that we get when we're having sex with someone. And this is just fuels more imbalance and more imbalance. And this is how we then also get to the place where we're using where sex is very performance based. And it's always like, well, as long as we're going through the motions and performing, and it has a bit of a heightened grand presentation, or grand satisfaction, that we then assign meaning to that and go, oh, everything's fine, it's fine because we have great sex. Or, but then we're using our partner, we're using sexual relating to comfort our own nervousness or to comfort our anxiety, because we're still trying to keep out the truth, even though the truth is leaking in. But we're trying to keep out the truth that, oh no, this relationship has no foundation. I do not know this person. And we are relating in dysfunctional ways. And the way that I wrote this is paragraph number 3, section number 3. It ends by saying, that the whole point of moving the cycle is that things just progressively are going to get worse and worse and worse. So it's not always true how I present it here to say that, and you inevitably go into a downward cycle of more dysfunction. It's very possible that you'll come out of it. You'll learn something new. You'll repair. You'll salvage what has happened, and you'll strengthen. Healthier, secure relating. You'll stop feeding this dysfunctional system. And for many of us, however, it's not just a very quick cycle of going down. We have this kind of up and down, up and down, up and down. And this could be 2 years passes, 3 years pass, 12 years pass, that we do this thing, but ultimately we're just looping in the same place. And at some point, it's going to, for many of us, for some people, they do this for, 25 years, 40 years, or this is how they do relationship period. But for many of us, it just will keep, what we know with trauma, any type of trauma symptoms that are untreated, essentially over time, they get worse. And so, in a way, this attachment distress is just coming from a place of unintegrated attachment trauma, is just going to intensify anyway. So inevitably, the way I wrote this document is that we are spiraling downward, and we're going to crash and burn. And that's the point of this document, to say, hey, wake up. This thing that you and I do, that many of us do, it sets us on a path of crash and burn relationships. And how sad is that? Like, wow, that is just so sad. Lastly, please take care of yourself with this information. It's really sensitive stuff, because we all many of us can plug our real life stories into this. We need compassion. We need gentleness, because when we do this, it's so easy to blame ourselves. It's so easy to be hard on ourselves. It's easy to get really angry at the other person. We just get angry at life and bitter that it happens at all. We get angry at our family, and raise our fist to the heaven, like, oh, why do I have to deal with this? I just want to be in a nice, lovely, secure relationship. Well, guess what? We're not, and this is our lot in life. We are working towards growing and improving and learning some new skills. And until then, it's really painful stuff. So take care of yourself, take breaks from this. Maybe even journal, or the reason why I created the community membership website is that if we need support to talk to other people about what the heck is this and how is this playing out in your life, and really have a way to build each other up through asking advice, offering feedback, sharing insights that give us encouragement, to let us know we are not alone. You're not alone. Many of us have done this, and we need to stop, because it is so crazy, painful stuff. Video number 3 is finished. Please know there's a total of 5 videos. This is a series. To get this document, go to alanrobarge.com/cycle. This document is, I'm referring to it as the dysfunctional cycle document. And subscribe to this YouTube video, please, if you like this channel, want to see more videos just like it. And then lastly, if you want to check out more information about the community membership website, please do so by going to my website, alanrobarge.com /community. Stay tuned. The next one, number 4, paragraph number 4. Maybe I'll give you a heads up. I think there's parts of paragraph 4 and paragraph 5 that like get worse. Like more bad news on the, we're spiraling into hell. So come with me. Let's spiral into hell together. Video 4, video 5 on the way. Check it out. Thank you for watching this one. See you next time.